Welcome to Bournemouth University and welcome to our two new degrees, Biomedical Science and Medical Science. In this presentation, I'm going to go through why should you study these degrees at Bournemouth University, and we're going to have a look at the in-depth units you're going to study if you choose either Biomedical Sciences or Medical Science. We're going to have a look at all the different course options you can take within those programs, because Medical Science in particular has 4 distinct pathways that you can choose from to give you quite a lot of specialisation, whereas Biomedical Science is a slightly more classical degree, giving you particular career focus. And we're going to look at all the different career options that those 2 different degrees can lead to you in your future life. So in terms of Bournemouth University, we're quite proud of the various accolades that we've achieved. We've been rated as an Eco Campus Platinum. We've been given the Athena Swan Bronze Award for tackling gender inequality in higher education. And importantly, in terms of the teaching qualifications and the teaching provision here, we've been awarded the TEF Silver Award. So what that means is that we've been rated as an institution which is exceeding the national expectations and delivering a quality of education which is rated as excellent. And we're also the first university to be commended for the quality of student learning opportunities. I'm actually delivering this talk from one of our very new buildings. We're in the Fusion building right now, which is a brand new facility built in 2016. It's a lovely building. We've got a really nice range of new lecture theatres, really nice social spaces, lots of different style rooms to deliver the different sort of teaching that we do here. So it's bespoke rooms for lectures and seminars and that sort of thing. And it's a nice social space for students as well. Just the year before that, we also built a new student union building, which is on our campus. So that's called the Subu building, Student Union Bournemouth University, built in 2015. If you're on our Talbot campus, you would have seen the brand new facility that we're building at the moment, which is supposed to be ready for us next year. That's the Pool Gateway building, the Gold building. That's going to be a lovely facility, one of our real flagship buildings. That's going to be ready for you next year. And we're also simultaneously building on the Lansdowne campus, which is in the town centre of Bournemouth, the Bournemouth Gateway building as well. So really a substantial investment in Bournemouth University. And that investment is not just in the new buildings that I'm showing you, it's also in new courses that we're talking about today, biomedical science and medical science. And to go along with that, we're investing in staff and we're investing significantly in new laboratories and all the equipment that you need, which is actually quite extensive for these science-heavy degrees, biomedical science and medical science. If you'd like to see a little bit more of the university, please have a look at our virtual tour, which is online on the link on your screen, where you can see a lot of this in a bit more detail. The model you're seeing on the screen at the moment is actually really important to us. It's part of the overall university's policy to how we deliver our services to the students, and it's called the Fusion policy. And that's actually really important, not just for students, but it's actually personally important to me as a member of staff working here, because it governs how our staff work. All staff here are expected to work in those 3 areas that you can see of Fusion. So we're obviously delivering an education service to you, but we're also supposed to be active in research and professional practice as well. So our staff are not just allowed time to engage in those areas, but it's actively encouraged and we're very well supported in that. And what that means practically for you as a student studying at Bournemouth is that you get staff who are actively engaged in the latest research in their field, and we're very good at that. So you'll be taught by practicing staff specialists in that field. They may be clinicians or psychologists or engineers, and they have a particular area of practice that they're able to dedicate their time to. So basically, you get a real world experience as well, not just staff that are only employed to deliver lectures. Our placement scheme is optional. I would really encourage you to think about that, actually. It's a very good use of your time. We offer an optional 30-week placement, which is you'll do at the end of your second year. So you'll study with us in year 1 and 2 of the course, and then in lieu of you doing year 3, you have the option to go out into industry and undertake a 30-week placement, and then you'll come back and finish your studies in your final year, which would become your 4th year here. Personally, I find the students that do that route come back with a great deal of motivation, and as you can imagine, it's actually really great on their CV. They get a lot of benefit from that. To help you get that placement, we've got a dedicated placement coordinator who will help you find that placement. They can be quite challenging to find, but it's a very worthwhile activity. And over the years, or every year actually, we have some really quite impressive placement opportunities for our students. And I can see the students' improvement when they come back. Their grades go up, their motivation comes back, or goes up, I should say, and it's just a really nice boost for them. We also work quite closely with a network of employers in the local area and nationally that are keen to take our placement students, because it's a practical degree and we want to teach those skills, and that really helps. So what we can do now is have a look at the first of the two degrees I'm going to be talking about, which is biomedical sciences. So what is biomedical science? It's an important component of medical scientists, and it's a classical role in healthcare. If you were employed as a biomedical scientist, you would be employed in a hospital often, and you'd be carrying out a range of scientific and laboratory tests, and your role would be to support the hospital with the diagnosis and treatment of disease. So you could be working with operating theatres, you could be working in accident and emergency, you might be working in a specialist blood team where you could be looking at markers of cancer, diabetes, blood disorders, maybe meningitis or even AIDS. You could be working with people that have just taken an overdose and we need an emergency response to see what they've taken so that we can govern how we're going to treat those people. So it's a really varied role and it's highly practical. So on this degree, we're going to teach you the lab skills and the analytical skills to work confidently in that role. Because you could be screening for bacteria, viruses, you could be monitoring the effects of treatment in people in a hospital scenario. So it's quite an important role. It's a very responsible role. Within that role, you could be working with computers, sophisticated lab equipment, high-tech microscopes, a lot of very modern techniques. So we're going to have a look at those as we go through, and really you're effectively analysing and interpreting results to support the diagnosis, monitoring and treatment of disease. We have a range of staff here who specialise in these areas, and you'll be taught by quite different members of our staff. So it could be senior academics here, qualified professional practitioners, demonstrators who will work closely with you on those lab techniques I alluded to earlier. You'll be working with our research students, and something we're very proud of at the university is the amount of very respected guests that we bring in to give you that sort of industrial flavour to your degree. So we invite people, specialists in particular areas, to come from industry and to give you a sense of what it's actually like as a professional in that area to work in that industry. So I'm going to go through with you now the specific units that you would study if you take the BSc in biomedical science. So firstly, year one is obviously core on the programme, and all of these units are mandatory. So you will study biomedical research skills, you'll do an introduction to immunology, an introduction to molecular genetics, you'll do cell biology, human anatomy and physiology, and chemistry. All of those are 20 credit units and they're all compulsory. So year one is a standard programme here, and this is quite a classical approach to delivering a biomedical science degree, because we want to teach you the basics of the biology behind this, so you've got a solid underpinning of how the human body works, so that you can then push forward into the more specialist modules in year two and year three. In year two, you'll take those studies further and you'll take advanced immunology, you'll do an introduction to pharmacology, advanced skills for biomedical science, biochemistry, introduction to toxicology, and advanced cell biology. And again, those are all core. In year three, the program is a little different, and you will have option units from which you can choose. So the most important change now in year three is you're going to start to specialise to a much greater extent, and you will do a 20 credit biomedical research project. So this will be an independent piece of work, most likely in a laboratory area of science, but that's largely up to you, and you'll work with an assigned supervisor to deliver a high quality professional piece of research, which is your independent chance to specialise in research. You'll also take a core unit in pathophysiology. And then you can choose 3 of 5 options. So you can choose advanced topics in genetics, advanced systems biology, advanced pharmacology and toxicology, biomolecules, or epidemiology and infection. So you will do 3 of those 5 to give you the 120 credits of study in your final year. So the main selling point here in your final year, and the thing that excites our students the most really, is that biomedical research project, because you've had 2 years of the course so far. You can work with our staff quite a lot in year 2 of the course to start developing ideas. You'll write a proposal, you get that proposal approved and find a supervisor, etc. And then that's your chance to shine. And that can really stand out in your CV. They're your choice of specialism there. And that can help you access specific areas of our healthcare provision, if you're going to do this professionally, based on you getting that research project right. So that's the biomedical science course. We're going to move on now and have a look at the medical science course. So our BSc Medical Science course is a new degree, and we're very excited about the way that's looking at the moment. Medical science focuses on the cutting-edge science that underpins modern medicine. When many people think about the role of hospital staff, they think about the classic roles: doctors, surgeons, the nurse team, etc. But there's a whole suite of people that have to make our healthcare system work, and they range from psychologists, engineers, people specialists in computers, and we've given this degree what we think is a very unique identity nationally. So you can study a comprehensive range of topics within medical science. You'll gain an in-depth understanding of how our bodies work, how disease is treated, and we've got quite a heavy focus on how new technology is evolving and implemented in various fields within this discipline. And to deliver that, you can study medical science through selecting one of 4 possible pathways. So this enables you to tailor the degree in the way you wish. Each pathway provides a strong foundation in medical science, but you get quite a lot of flexibility to choose your distinct pathway to help you shape that degree to your future aspirations. So these are the pathways. Pathway 1 is a general medical science degree. So this is more of a classical approach to delivering the content on medical science. Pathway 2, if you're interested in psychology, which is a big field within medical science, you can choose a psychology-focused pathway. You can also choose an engineering-focused pathway, or our final pathway is the computing, visualization, and artificial intelligence-focused medical science degree. So there's 4 quite distinct areas. So there's going to be quite a lot of units for us to go through now, but there is some commonalities, so I'll probably skim over a few of these which are the same. So medical science, if you take the general pathway, this is what you'll study. Year 1 is largely core across all of the 4 pathways that I've just mentioned, so you'll be studying pretty much the same sort of thing. So firstly, in year 1, you'll do a unit which is compulsory, as they all are on this first year. Medical science skills. You'll also do human anatomy and physiology, chemistry, cell biology, an introduction to immunology, and you'll do biological and cognitive psychology. In year 2 of the medical science program, the general pathway, you'll do advanced skills in medical science, an introduction to pharmacology, biochemistry, introduction to toxicology, advanced cell biology, and then osteomechanics. Year 3, in a similar manner to our biomedical degree, is where you start to do your research project and have some optional units. So everyone will do neuroimaging, and then you'll do a medical science project. So this is just the same as I was explaining for the biomedical degree. You will start to create your project in year 2 in terms of the concept, and then in year 3, you will undertake a significant piece of independent research worth 20 credits. And then you will choose 4 from the following options: pathophysiology, advanced systems biology, advanced topics in genetics, epidemiology and infection, or advanced pharmacology and toxicology. So that's what the program looks like for medical science if you choose the general medical science pathway. And if we have a look at the psychology pathway, In comparison, if you look at these units across the screen, there is a good deal of similarity. But what we've done is we've swapped out some of the modules to give you that focus then in psychology. So if we start with year 1, you'll do the same program as the general science program, but instead of doing Introduction to Immunology, you will take Foundations in Data Analysis. You will also do Biological and Cognitive Psychology, again, same as the general pathway, so just a subtle change there. In year 2, the units again are largely the same, but you'll swap out osteomechanics for a psychology module, and that will be biological psychology. Year 3, there's a lot more options, and again, those options now are focusing in psychology quite a lot more. And here in year 3, this is where the pathway options do get quite a lot different from the general medical science pathway, because if you see in the general medical pathway, all our students will do a 20 credit project. 20 credits represents a relatively small portion of your degree. But on the psychology focused pathway and the engineering and the computing and artificial intelligence, there's quite a lot more focus on your research in year 3. So rather than doing 20 credits, you'll be doing 60 credits, which is half of the year in your final year. So everyone does that medical science project, which is worth 20 credits, but now you'll do a 40 credit project in addition to that, which will be your psychology focused project. So again, as relevant to medical science, of course, but it's a psychology-based project. So half of your degree in the final year is research-based. And then you'll choose 2 options from pathophysiology, advanced systems biology, advanced topics in genetics, epidemiology and infection, advanced pharmacology and toxicology, biopsychological of mental disorders, current trends in clinical neuropsychology, and cognitive neuroscience. So clearly the focus here is quite heavily on psychology. The engineering focused pathway is constructed in a very similar way to the previous pathway. So again, year 1 is pretty much consistent across all of these pathways, but now you're doing biomedical engineering principles in place of that final year, that final unit in the first year, so slightly different. We bring in additional modules such as biomedical engineering applications in year 2, machine learning and artificial intelligence, mixed realities, osteomechanics. So this is giving you much more of a flavour of engineering related applications within a medical science program. So this pathway again is quite unique. In year 3, you'll do neuroimaging. And again, as with the psychology pathway, you're still doing 60 credits of research in there. You're doing the medical science project, as is everyone else, and now you're doing an engineering-based project as well. And you'll choose from a similar range of options to the other pathways. And then the final pathway, which may be of interest, is a medical science pathway with a specific focus on computing and visualization and artificial intelligence. So again, as with the other programs, year 1 is very consistent, but in year 2, you'll start to do additional units such as you'll do machine learning, artificial intelligence again, you'll do the mixed realities. Year 3, we're bringing in more computing again, where you will do another 40 credits in computing, visualization, artificial intelligence. And as with engineering and psychology, these are areas of the university that we really excel in. We've got excellent facilities for this sort of project. The use of computers and artificial intelligence and that sort of thing is really significantly on the rise in medicine. Computers are used heavily in operating theatres nowadays, so this is quite an exciting area for us. And just the same as the other pathways, you'll choose 2 options from, again, a very similar field to the others. The only difference, as you can see, is the computing neuroscience option. So those are the 4 pathways. It's quite a lot to take in terms of the differences between the pathways, but you can take one of our brochures, or all this is online as well. So if you just go on our website and search for these degrees, all of the different options and the units that you might take are up for you to see. So in terms of the ideal student that we're looking for on these programs, if you meet our entry requirements, of course, we would be very welcoming of students with a variety of interests and backgrounds, and ideally with a science background. We're looking for people that will have solid problem-solving skills and a proven ability to express yourself well, because we'll be doing lots of group projects, and like I've been explaining earlier, the research is quite a big focus in the final year of your degrees. And in addition to wanting these sort of people, we're going to give you training in this as you go through to succeed here. So we're looking for applicants who are interested in finding out how all of this is going to work and just have got a general interest in science, medicine, and the human body. Strong candidates may have done some volunteer work, or perhaps have got some sort of work experience in terms of practical skills in the laboratory, either something you've done in school or college or wider. Careers, in terms of biomedical science, that can be, if you wish, quite a specialist role. It is a recognised role. You can be a biomedical scientist working in a variety of fields. You could also use this degree to access careers such as being a biotechnologist. You could be a healthcare scientist working with a clinical specialism, perhaps genomics, hematology, immunology. Lots of our students go on to become research scientists that have done this sort of degree. You might be a clinical associate. Something you may not have thought about is the opportunity to use your scientific knowledge to work in medical sales, and that can be a very interesting and rewarding career. You could be an engineer, a medical engineer, working in the IT departments that support healthcare services, absolutely vital to the running of a hospital. A microbiologist, a toxicologist, lots of different options. Both of the degrees don't limit your potential. I think they really offer quite an exciting range of future careers. In terms of employers, clearly the NHS is a big one. Lots of biomedical scientists are employed by the NHS, but you can work much further abroad than that. You could work for the Medical Research Council, helping our scientists obtain funding to conduct the latest research in their field. You could work in the food and drink industry, biotechnology, pharmacy. You could even work in things like forensics or charity laboratories, because if you remember, the sort of skills that you'll need to work as a biomedical analyst or a medical analyst, a lot of those machines and the lab equipment, they're not just the sole domain of a hospital or a diagnostic institute. If you're good at using a microscope or other analytical equipment, you can access a whole range of lab or science-based degrees because of your qualifications and your training that you've achieved here. You can work in private labs, Public Health England. Lots of our students that do these kind of science-based degrees with a flair for writing, they end up working in publishing companies, working on key textbooks, on medical texts, etc. And the specialist press employ lots of medical writers as well. So that's maybe something you've not thought about in terms of a potential career option. And of course, you can carry on with your research and work in a university department as well. On a lighter note, Bournemouth's just a really nice place to live. So I'm not sure if you're from Bournemouth or not really, but it's a lovely place. Lots of beaches, fair weather in general to the rest of the UK. It's a really nice place. These degrees are very exciting, actually, and I think there's a lot on offer with these degrees. We think they're very unique and delivering a great quality of education. Thank you. Do you have any questions?